You're listening to Grinny Grooves Backstage Pass, and we have a special guest with us today, Jenson Tagg. And Jenson has decided, even though I've been calling him by another name, he's gladly decided that he's more than happy to stay for another hour of me calling him by the wrong name. But in all seriousness, I'm really pleased that Jenson is with us today. We've had 3 great songs from him already. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
Yes, there he is in the background there. Yes, we've had 3 great songs, and he's selected some songs that has been an influence on him. So let's continue our conversation. Do you ever do any sort of duets or have other people accompanying you on songs?
Yeah, a couple of occasions. Yeah, so on a couple of songs, that the one I played earlier, that Your Dreams Are Better, there's on the recording of it, there's a girl called Roseanne Reed who's doing harmony for me on that, and she's also singing on another song that's going to be on the album. So she's really good. So it's just another recommendation I'd say to definitely check out. And a few years ago, I had this song. It was called "Come Home," and I really liked the song, and I really wanted a female harmony on it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about people who I could ask, and sort of cut a long story short. I was pretty much bedbound for a while with a bad back, and before I had my operation, and I was trying to find sort of calming, comforting music to listen to help me fall asleep. And I came across Courtney Marie Andrews.
Say that name again.
Courtney Marie Andrews.
I know that name, and I've seen her perform 2 or 3 times now.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh great. Yeah, she and just something about her voice, something about her songs. There was one album in particular that she doesn't actually have it released anymore, but it was out at the time. It's called For One I Knew, and just sort of it just helped me fall asleep. So when the time came around to me wanting a female harmony on this song that I had, I thought, well, I could just, try and message her, see if she's up for singing on it. All she can do is say no. So I sort of sent her an email, sort of said, I know this is a long shot, but I've got this song. I'd really like your voice on it. Would you mind? kind of thing. And she messaged back saying, yeah, send it over and I'll have a listen to it, and all that sort of thing. And then a few days later, she was putting her own tour together over here. So this, when would this have been? I forget the year, but it was a few years ago, before she was discovered, if you like.
Yeah.
So so she was putting her own tour together, and she just put up a thing on Facebook saying, doing a European tour and sort of listed the areas they were going. Is there anyone willing to put me and my friend up for the night, like where she's going to and from venues and stuff? So I messaged her saying, like, yeah, you can stay in my studio if you want, like camp beds on the floor and that, like with her and her friend. And she messaged back like saying, oh yeah, and that'd be a good opportunity to record your song. So then that's how that came about. So and she was an absolute pro as well. Like she just came in, heard it once, and was like, okay, I've got a harmony, and I was like, okay, and like, do you want to do that then? And she did it, but it was perfection first time.
She's a wonderful talent
in the presence of a pro, basically.
Yeah, she's a talent.
She just nailed it first time.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it was just like I just didn't know what to do after that. It was just kind of like me and my friend James, who does a lot of keyboards for me and helps sort of kind of produce me as well. We just kind of looked at each other, just like, do you want to do it again? Like, what else are we going to do? Like now, I think she put 2 harmonies on in the chorus, and then the sort of third one in a breakdown. But if you've got it, then you can hear it. But it was just absolute. I'm
going to look in the library now and see if we've got that one. Because she's a singer-songwriter in her own right, of course, and she's been sort of, I guess, tagged within the Americana scene. Yeah, and she's gone from strength to strength, and there's
nominated for Grammys and all.
Yeah, she's an A-lister really now.
Yeah, and definitely in that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I remember showing a guy called Dylan Leblanc. I don't know if you've heard of him as well. Yeah.
We're talking my language now.
Yeah. So when she was over, I was showing her and her friend like, oh, have you heard this guy? And they were looking at him for the first time, and then think a couple of years later, she's there hanging out with him, and I'm like, I remember I told you about him, and now you're.
I mean, he's got
rubbing
a great
shoulders with
He's got a great catalogue, and he's got I've heard it as an EP, but he may have added to it to become an album called Past Times.
Yeah, that's his most recent.
Stuff, and it's a lot of it's covers.
Yes.
On the EP, certainly it is, and he does a fantastic version of Glenn Campbell's "Gentle on My Mind." That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. I love his voice too.
Yeah. In fact, I was really disappointed to know that he was toured in the UK, I don't know, a week or two ago.
Week, yeah.
Yeah, and he played in Guildford. Yeah, there you go.
I know. I saw exactly the same thing. I was like, if I'd have, I should have been more on the ball with it. Obviously, I follow him on the social media and stuff. But
that's another subject we need to talk about after.
Yes.
But yeah, then keep naming these names.
Yeah, well, now you've said that, my mind's gone blank. But yeah, that was just an example I thought of. But yeah, it was just funny just to see it, to say, like, because we were trying to show each other about music. She showed me Elliott Smith, and I said, have you heard this guy, Dylan Leblanc? And then like a year or two later, she's touring with him.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I found the song in our jukebox, and it's called "Come Home."
Yes.
So why don't we play that? Line it up. Here we go. It's Jenson Tagg and Courtney Marie Andrews with "Come Home."
Home is any four walls that enclose the ones you love. The house I wanna buy for you is gone, and everyone keeps saying that three's a crowd. Oh, now your heart's the home I want for me, but it houses someone else. The path by the riverside is gone, and everyone keeps saying that three's a crowd. Oh, now your carefree smile. Oh, how it make it all worthwhile. Come home, come home. Since you packed up and moved on, forgiveness is the final form of love, and everyone keeps saying that three's a crowd. Carefree smile. Oh, how it make it all worthwhile. Come home, come home.
Well, that was Jenson Tagg there with Courtney Marie Andrews and Come Home. And that was a nice track. I like that one too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's probably one of my... I think out of... like whenever you listen to yourself or have to listen to yourself, like, that's probably my favourite one.
I like the keyboards in sort of, partway through, halfway through there. And Courtney Marie's voice came through real strong on the harmonies, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I sort of had to put her up there because I just love the voice. So
yeah, it's beautiful. If you haven't heard Courtney Marie Andrews, both Jenson and I would totally recommend you go and dig her out.
100%. Yeah, if you like Americana with a little hint of country twang, then because I love all that stuff. So she's right up my street, as is Dylan Leblanc as well, and sort of
and check out Dylan Leblanc.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm here with a special guest, and his name is Jenson Tagg, and we've been chatting away about his musical career, what he's been up to, where he's playing next. He's been playing live in the studio, and we just heard one track that was in our library there, Come Home, with Courtney Marie Andrews. So two things that caught my ear when you were talking a minute or two ago, and that was the two words that caught my ears were studio and social media.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So you mentioned that Courtney Marie slept in the studio.
Yeah.
So do you have your own studio then, or is this a studio that you would use with other musicians?
Well, it's the studio bit isn't sort of. But this is it's at my in my mum's house, so where I was living at the time, and my dad, and it's mainly my dad and Adam, who I was telling you about before. My one of my best mates who plays guitar for me. He's playing the electric guitar on that track we just played then.
Right.
It was meant because they used to work together, sort of doing building and windows and things like that. So they did most of the work, I have to say. And because I'm not very good at that sort of thing, so like I did what I could and made a mess of it that they had to clean up again after me. But actually putting the whole thing together was mainly my dad and Adam. But yeah, so we sort of built the studio in the back garden. Basically, the outbuilding was already there.
Yeah.
And then rather than sort of doing the room within the room, we sort of made that bit the inside. So we didn't have to lose so much space because it's all has to be soundproofed and all that. But yeah, so it's very handy to have. It's been sort of a very big blessing for me to have that studio there and to sort of get all my songs recorded. And
so, as recording your own material there, I guess you must use it as, or I'm assuming you use it as a rehearsal room as well. Then,
yeah,
to some extent.
Yeah, so we can, so I can rehearse in there whenever I'm doing full band stuff. And so it's big enough for rehearsal, and it's got the PA in there and sort of that, and then sort of bands that we know are welcome to sort of use it. So,
you said there in the first hour you're from a musical family. Clearly, you are with having a studio in the garden and in the outbuilding. But have they recorded material that's been out there for the general public to listen to?
Who's that?
So your parents and stuff.
Have my parents recorded anything? No. So my dad used to be in a band back in the 70s. My mum's not really musical. I mean, she loves music, but she's not musical herself. But my dad plays guitar. And he was in a sort of, I guess you'd call it a bit of a punk band, I guess, in sort of the late 70s, I think, mid to late 70s, called Roy and the Rovers, they were called, sort of Red Hill based. So he had sort of guitars. He sort of obviously, same as me really, he's sort of at a younger age sort of into sort of heavier things. I was very much into, obviously, first and foremost, the Beatles have always been number one for me. And then sort of when I got to about 13, 14, I then discovered Led Zeppelin. Yeah. And that opened up a whole new world. And that was a bonding between me and Adam, how we became friends. And then he had this white Strat. Sorry, I'm probably getting a bit geeky now talking about guitars, but he had this white Strat.
Do it. That's what the show is all about.
He had this white Stratocaster and a Vox AC30, but I think the the guitar got stolen, and it's just gutting to see. Like, there's one video of them playing at a rehearsal, and I remember just looking at that, thinking, why haven't you still got that guitar? And just seeing, but yeah, he swapped it. We swapped the amp for a Martin acoustic, so he's playing a lot more acoustic these days. Sort of, he doesn't sort of play live or anything. It's just like a hobby. But yeah, so that's the music on my dad's side. I don't think any of his other relatives are musical. It's mainly from, as I was saying earlier, it's all the children from my mum's side.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned the Beatles. We've got to go to an ad break in a minute, but why don't we play a Beatles song after the ad? How about
Strawberry Fields?
Strawberry Fields Forever. We can do that. So you're listening to Grinny Groove's Backstage Pass. My name is Norman, and I'll be right back.
Bullfrog Music, Ship Street, East Grinstead are proud sponsors of Grinny Groove's Backstage Pass.
That was the Beatles there with Strawberry Fields Forever. And while that was playing, Jenson asked me if I was from Liverpool, and yes, I am. I was from the area of Liverpool, which is very close to Strawberry Fields, and of course Penny Lane. If anybody knows the Beatles in Liverpool, they know they're the same sort of vicinity. Mm-hmm. But I have a great Beatles story, which I promised I would tell Dave before I told anybody else.
Oh, so I'm not allowed to hear it?
No, you'll have to tune in another week when I'm here. No. But I'll just leave this with you. Paul McCartney and John Lennon rehearsed in my house.
Really?
My mum's house. So I'm just leaving that there.
Rehearsed in your mum's? Oh, can you tell me off air?
I'll tell you a little bit more off air, yeah.
Perfect.
So that was a song I believe you like, Strawberry Fields Forever.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I was growing up. I was very much I sort of followed them almost in chronological order of their catalogue because I got into the anthology documentary series when I was about 6. But Strawberry Fields was one. Being at that age, it was a bit scary sounding with all the horns and the strings and the brass and stuff. It was a bit scary to me. But my brother said, "No, you should like it," because he's sorry, Scott, 12 years older than me. But he's very up on a lot more up on actual music than me. So he was like, "No, you should like it. You should like it." And I was trying to make a compilation. He made me put Strawberry Fields on it, and but yeah, I mean, now I love it. Now I've got a bit older, and a lot older, and I can appreciate what goes into it.
Well, as that song was playing, about the last 10, 15 seconds, it sort of fades away and then fades back up again with I don't know, no lyrics, but bit of electronic sound and a bit of Abbey Road wizardry. Yeah,
I mean, which is all new for the time. All that sort of amazing things they managed to do. Sort of end of '66, that was Strawberry Fields. It didn't come out till '67. They started working on it in end of '66, and it was when they'd just done the Revolver album, which had their sort of new engineer Jeff Emerick working with them as the main engineer. He'd worked with them previously. But Norman Smith, who was the engineer before, left to produce Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay.
And he thought where the Beatles were going wasn't really for him anymore. But then he left to produce Pink Floyd, and then Jeff Emerick got the promotion, if you like. And it was a lot of the close miking techniques and all the weird, the sort of psychedelic Beatles. A lot of that sort of was helped by him, as well as them being. Wanting to try anything and everything as well. So it was lucky they had Jeff Emerick and George Martin, who were both willing to go along with any wacky idea they wanted to try.
So obviously, listening to you there gives me the impression that you know quite a lot about the Beatles and some layers of detail that the layperson wouldn't know or wouldn't appreciate or may have forgotten. You're talking about the recording engineers there.
Yeah, I probably know more about the Beatles than any other subject.
That'd be your specialist subject on Mastermind, would it?
It would be, yeah. So it's like, my brother has always said that I should go on Mastermind, but my general knowledge isn't anywhere near up to par as my Beatles knowledge is. So I think I'd whiz through on the Beatles specialist subject bit, but then not do so. I know a lot about a few subjects rather than knowing a little about a wide range of stuff.
Broad range, yeah. So have you been up to Liverpool? to to sort of do the Beatles tour, etc., and see all that memorabilia and stuff.
Of course, yeah. The first time I went, I think it was about 12. My parents took me with my younger sister Jodie, and we went up to Liverpool and did the whole Magical Mystery Tour thing and all that.
All right.
And then years later, the band I was in at the time, a band called Ghostwriters, it's probably around 2009, 10. We played in the Cavern, or what is now the Cavern.
Yeah.
And which was great. So that was definitely like a sort of tick off the bucket list.
A high point in the performance career.
Yes, yeah. For me, just to be playing live in Liverpool even was great. Let alone it being in the Cavern as well, where obviously Paul McCartney did that.
No, I've never been to the old. I knew where it was, of course, and I know where the new Cavern is, of course. I've never been in either establishment. My brother, who was older than me, used to go to the original Cavern. But is the new Cavern have all the arches and all the brickwork to make it look like what the original Cavern looked like?
I think the new one's about 8 feet deeper than the old one, and it's along a bit. So I think sort of where they've got the mock stage of what the old one used, because they've got the other room at the back with the massive PA and all that, sort of where Paul McCartney's played a few times, a couple of times. But in the sort of mock where they've done it, what it kind of used to look like, I think it's as closest as they could get that stage to be, from what I understand, from what I've read about it. But yeah, I think it's a couple of doors along and about 8 feet deeper. Okay,
but the Cavern Club as it is today is opposite. Oh no, it's along, isn't it? Because they built a ventilation shaft or something. They demolished the Cavern to put.
They did, yeah. They filled it in because they were going to put a, what was it? Something like a railway tram or something.
Yeah, there's an underground railway system, and I'm sure it was a ventilation shaft.
Yeah, and because there was obviously uproar about that. Wasn't there? People barricaded themselves in and that. But,
you think the councillors and the planning people would have had a bit more sense, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I bet they're really regretting that now. But they do all right with all their Beatles.
I was thinking when I was saying it's opposite. I was thinking that's where Eric's was, because Eric's was a famous punk club in Liverpool.
Oh right, on the same street,
on Matthew Street. Yeah. Anyway, we're not really talking about local music when we're talking about the Beatles in Liverpool, are we?
So, no, that's true. I mean, sorry, I could go on all day about the Beatles.
So, how about another track? We early on we had a track before with Courtney and Marie Andrews, which was from our library. But how about something live from the studio, Jenson?
Yeah, sure. Just let me have a quick check I'm in tune, just in case this aircon's.
I was saying our aircon must be giving you trouble there.
No, it's all good now. But yeah, shall I announce it for you?
Yeah, you just tell us what it is and you can go straight into it.
Sure. Well, this song's on what's technically my first album, called Bond of the Scattered Family. And it's normally the song I end all my shows with. But I know I could potentially play a couple more if you want me to. But it's called Walk On By.
Walk On By. And it's different than the background version.
It's not. Yeah, it's a different song. Yeah, same title.
I just had to say that. But it's Walk On By. Coming up next with Jenson Tagg.